So, hello everyone. How are you?
Hello, ma. We are okay.
Okay. So,
Fine.
I'm very happy today because Professor Uma Madhuri is with us. She is she was the senior most faculty of Social Science School of Social Sciences. She is just retired in April, and that's why she is ready. Otherwise, she was too busy, and now she is ready to take your session for MPA 007. And I want all of you to take good benefit of this session. Okay, so I want one by one you can give your introduction to ma'am because she is new to the class. And after that she'll give you a short introduction and then we'll start. So first I'll ask Jibril, if you're there, or George. First you can give
Yeah,
your introduction.
thank you so much, ma'am. Nice to be here again, and welcome, ma'am. Nice to have you here. We know we have good time together. My name is George Wiseman Gondwe. I'm from the warm heart of Africa, Malawi, and I'm in this course, postgraduate diploma in disaster management. Yeah, I think that's me. I'm George.
Thank you. And Adamu, please introduce yourself. Your voice is, you need to unmute. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me
Yes.
now? Okay. My name is Adamu Usman Galadima. I'm from the giant of Africa, that is Nigeria. I'm glad to be here with you, Prof. And I'm looking forward to benefit more from you. And thank you, Doctor, for bringing Prof to this class.
And Abdullah Suleiman. And yes, please introduce yourself.
Hello, ma. I am
Hello.
Abdullah. I'm Abdullah Suleiman from Nigeria, Bauchi State precisely. I have a master's degree in business administration with specialization in environment and sustainable development. And my undergraduate studies is on urban and regional planning. So I'm from Bauchi State. Thank you.
Okay. Great. And Mohammad Kedar Ali. Mohammad Kedar Ali.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
What are you doing right now?
Yeah. I'm looking somewhere.
Okay, you come to somewhere you can sit. Okay, now introduce yourself. We have less time for introduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. First, Muhammad Sadar, I'm from Somalia. Very glad to be here with you. Thank you. I'm from Somalia.
Okay. Now, anyone else who want to introduce Zibril, Othman, Uba, Yayaha?
Yes, ma.
Please introduce. Yes. Tell me. I can see you first time in this class, I think. Have you attended earlier? Any class?
My name is Uba Usman Abdullah. I'm
Okay.
from Nigeria, Kano State, Nigeria. So I'm on the way back to home. That is why my network is not clear.
Okay. And
And I'm
okay,
on
now.
my way back to home.
Okay. Please
That is
mute
why
your
my
mic now.
network is not.
Yes, some
You
noise is
say
coming
what, ma?
from backside. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Othman. Uh,
Thank you, ma.
Mohammad Haruna. Mohammad Haruna?
He has raised the hand also, I think.
Yes, that is why actually he want to introduce himself. Mohammad Haruna, can you? Yes, you can speak now. Okay. Some actually, ma'am, in these areas where they reside, actually sometimes internet issues are also there. John, yes, tell me. John Kofoku is the name coming. Yes.
Yes,
Hello,
good
good evening.
evening.
Please introduce
Yes,
yourself to
good
the
evening. Good evening, members. Yes, Prof, we are happy to have you. We expect to learn a lot. My name is Joan Kafko from the Pearl of Africa, Uganda. I'm glad to be here and I hope to learn a lot. Have a nice evening.
So be there, and we have Mohammad Harun. You want to introduce and talk, and now a few more learners are joining. Okay.
Hello, can you hear
Jibril,
I think
yes, Mohammad Haruna and Jibril, introduce yourself. Then we'll start.
me? Okay, good day everyone. My name is Mohammed Haruna from Nigeria. And, it's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to learning more and benefit more. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Jibril, Jibril. Okay.
Good evening.
Yes.
I'm
Good
Jajir
evening.
from Nigeria. I'm glad to be here. I look forward to learn a lot from you.
Good. He's looking like in a class already.
yeah.
Now, last one is Mohammad Tijani. Introduce yourself, Mohammad Tijani.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Mohamed Tijani from Yobe State, Nigeria. Nice to meet our new prof.
Okay. Thank you. Now, thank you very much and for your introduction as well as yes, we have Maunsa Subulva. I'm very
Yes.
sorry, I'm not able to properly pronounce. I mean,
Okay. All right. My name is Mwansa Subulwa. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us on this wonderful program. We hope to learn a lot from you. I'm from Zambia.
oh, great. And can you see your video also? Hi. I think I have not seen you earlier. You were there? Okay. So now I request Dr. And Professor Uma Madhuri to please give a brief introduction of yourself. Meanwhile, I'll start a presentation for her.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to see you all. And also happy that so many of you have joined this, program. I think we all met once long back in the induction program. And now I think you have almost reached the end of the program. And I'm sure all these courses like you have enjoyed. And now once we start the counseling and complete this, and ma'am, I think will be taking up MED 004 and some of you may be taking up the project work. Now I think then you will be preparing for the term end exam. Okay. So before we literally go into this course, this being the first course, I just want any one of you, like now you have covered almost 6 courses, isn't it? So just something to say about, like, of course, I'll pose a question. Disasters, do they have only negative impact or there is some positive side to it? Anybody can. Let us make it more interactive because you have now. Can anybody say?
Yes, I want to say something.
Yes, tell.
Yes, disaster also have a positive part of it
Hmm.
because it can lead to development,
Hmm.
more research,
Hmm.
and also to find solution to so many issues that lead to that disaster, and also the better way to manage it from the lessons learned from that disaster.
Yeah, good response. Good. That means you all are going through the material, and then So the debate on disasters and development is a very contemporary. Like now debates are being raised whether disasters lead to development or development leads to disasters. Okay. And the other thing, if anybody can tell me what is disaster management cycle? What are the different phases of that cycle? You must have read about the disaster management cycle. What are the different phases in it, different steps in it? Anybody? What is it one step after that? What one leads, one stage is over, then we go to the other, then the circle is completed. Anybody can? Somebody has raised hand. Ivar
Yeah,
Sikasunda. Huh.
yeah,
Ah.
yeah, ma'am. George.
Yes,
Oh, okay. My friend, the voice is taking. Okay, my name is George. The cycle, disaster management cycle, has got stages like disaster itself. Then there's response. Then there's recovery. And there's preparedness and mitigation. So these are
Yeah.
the stages of disaster
Yeah.
management.
Good. So if you take it in a chronology, disaster, the disaster impact, then the disaster preparedness, okay, and preparedness after that, the disaster relief or response, and the last is there are 3 R's: disaster, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery. This is MPA 007, about which we will be discussing now. The last phase, that is RRR, disaster, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery. It is a very key component of the disaster management cycle. Like in any country, any place, a disaster has happened. It had lot of impact. There has been lot of destruction and everything. Now we have to go ahead, like rebuild the society, rebuild the country, rebuild the place. You have to give succor and support the citizens who have been affected. So all these comes under that rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery. Now everybody now has to come up from the ground level and start. So the thing is, disaster, that's why is always called as a window of opportunity. It is a window of opportunity because it gives scope to many things to happen. So it's not that life has come to an end. Of course, it has brought lot of destruction and everything, but now life has to go on. People have to go on. So it opens up opportunities for development. So the thing is, when we talk about reconstruction, rehabilitation, and recovery, first we need to discuss about disaster mitigation. Yeah, somebody has raised, George. George has raised. George, do you have a query?
No, I think it was area. It was area before now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do I need to present? Present that presentation, or
You can just. I
if
think.
you require. Otherwise,
I think a discussion is more this thing because
yeah.
otherwise they'll be seeing at that only. I hope they all have the material, no?
They all are having study materials. In fact, they have started most of them have finished their assignments also.
Okay.
They
Then
are
fine
already
then.
gone through the study
Fine,
material.
ma'am, you take care. You can come, like, you have just returned from this thing. So I'll call you. Okay. Because you must be tired.
I'm available on phone.
Yeah, sure. You please carry on. I'll have a discussion with them. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
Anything
ma'am.
else? Huh?
Thank you.
So, okay. So now we come to this unit, which is the unit is reconstruction and rehabilitation as means of development. It means how can we think or make reconstruction and rehabilitation as a tool or a mechanism towards development. As one of you has clearly said, that disaster has positive effects also. So now we have to channelize these and build the society. See, when we talk of rehabilitation and reconstruction, generally what comes to our mind is it is building of the houses. The houses are destroyed, bridges have collapsed, the buildings have collapsed, all these, the houses have been damaged. So this is one aspect. Can anybody say what do you call this type of rehabilitation and reconstruction, where we relate it to things like buildings, schools, community centers? What do you call it? Any
That
idea?
is infrastructure recovery.
No, this is what I'm talking is when you have to rehabilitate people and reconstruct. Something has broken, a bridge has broken, schools have been damaged, they have lost their homes. There is a term for this. What do we call it? This type of reconstruction. See, reconstruction is a very, very broad term. It is not just confined to buildings, bridges, houses, shelters, or where live, these animals are there. All this have to be taken up. This aspect has to be taken up. So we call it a term. It is called as physical reconstruction. Okay, physical. Something is physical. You have to build. You have to build a school that has been collapsed. People's homes that have to be rebuilt. All this we categorize as physical reconstruction. Physically, these things have to be made available to the people. So, apart from physical, don't you think that there is a psychological aspect? People, when they are affected by disasters, there is lot of psychological trauma. Okay. So, when we talk of rehabilitation and reconstruction, you have to rehabilitate the people. Okay. Give them the money, give them the buildings, give them everything, all the physical things that they need. Children have to be provided the schools, that they have to be rebuilt. Along with it, we need to think about the psychological rehabilitation. Okay. Psychologically, they need to be counseled. I think we all know that it is a trauma when there is a case of an earthquake or a flood or a cyclone. There is a lot of psychological. Don't you think so? Do you think so? That there is.
Yes, we think so, sir. We think
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
because
That's true.
kid will be exposed to so many
They
things,
need to
seeing
be
dead
counseled.
bodies.
They have lost their people. At times, if the disaster is severe, they lose their people. So it is a loss to the family. So apart from physical rehabilitation and reconstruction, psychological thing is also very, very important. So when we link this rehabilitation and reconstruction to development, an important aspect this unit talks about is.
Can you come again?
Yeah.
Hello, ma,
Tell
can you
me.
come again?
Beg your pardon?
Hello, can you come again, ma? Sorry, please.
Hello?
I'm unable. You're saying something?
Yes, ma, I'm saying something. I say, can you come again? Sorry.
Can
He mean, can you repeat yourself? He mean, can you repeat what you have said earlier?
Yeah. I'm going to repeat. I said, when we talk of rehabilitation, reconstruction is building, rebuilding the lives of people. Okay. How do we rebuild the lives of people? By giving them houses, by providing the schools to the children which have been destroyed, for livestock, wherever they are kept, those things have gone, the bridges have collapsed, depending on the intensity of the cyclone or intensity of disaster and the impact it has. So all these things have to be rebuilt, reconstructed. You have to rehabilitate the people. You have to, what is rehabilitation? You have to make the people go to their homes, the newly built homes. Children have to go to the new schools. All these things have to take place. So this is, you rehabilitate them. You again make them go to their respective places. Okay. So you need to reconstruct all these things. So this is one aspect of rehabilitation and reconstruction, which we call it as physical rehabilitation and reconstruction. Something is being built and it is being given to the people. Okay. This other thing which is very, very important, generally, which we don't pay much attention, is psychological rehabilitation. Okay. Psychological rehabilitation is, apart from giving them these facilities, there is something, the disasters impact the people to such an extent that many of them are in trauma. They are in shock because their house have gone, their homes have gone. They might have lost their belongings. They might have lost their livestock. Maybe there is a personal loss. They have lost some people. So all this, they need to be given a psychological assistance also. So rehabilitation also has to be psychological. That's what I said. It is not just giving them money and physical assets, but also somebody has to talk to them. Somebody has to, I'm sure you must have discussed in the course on disaster response about psychological aspects. Have you? Trauma, stress. I'm sure you must have discussed in that course. Like, this is a very, very important aspect. That psychological rehabilitation is also very, very important. Somebody has to go to the people, talk to them that, okay, something has gone wrong, but now you have to rebuild your lives. Okay. So this psychological rehabilitation is also very, very important apart from physical. So now, when we are talking of reconstruction and rehabilitation as a means, as a tool for development, now we have to plan, like what type of activities or what types of infrastructure has to be built, what type of employment now the people have to be given, all these things. So when we talk about this, first, as discussed in this unit, we have to discuss about mitigation, disaster mitigation. Mitigation only can lead first to rehabilitation and reconstruction. Can anybody tell what is mitigation? Mitigation.
It refers to all activities done to either prevent the disaster from happening or to reduce its impact when it is common inevitable.
Good. See, mitigate is to lessen. Okay, whatever activities are taken to lessen. See, certain disasters one cannot prevent or make it this thing. So you have to mitigate. You have to lessen the impact of the disaster. So this is disaster mitigation. I am sure you must have discussed the structural and non-structural aspects of mitigation. What are the various measures that need to be taken to reduce the impact of the disasters? This is disaster mitigation. Whatever action that is taken to reduce the long-term impact of the disasters, that is mitigate, to lessen the impact. Like, for example, adhering to business building codes. See, if the buildings are made as per certain codes or the bylaws that the government lays down, that is a mitigation measure. And creating awareness amongst the people, like how to lessen the impact of disasters, how they should protect themselves, prepare themselves. That is also a mitigation measure. And also, in some countries, insurance is also given. Okay, people should be made aware about the importance of disaster risk insurance so that they take it, they contribute to it, so that in the long run, whenever anything happens, they are able to get some money. So all these things are part of disaster mitigation. As you have rightly said, whatever measures that are taken to reduce the impact of the disaster is disaster mitigation. So first is, the disaster mitigation should be a part of the disaster management process. So once these things are in place, we can move towards proper reconstruction and rehabilitation. See, when whatever a disaster has happened, now we have to undertake the rehabilitation program. Rehabilitate is, now you do everything. How to rehabilitate? People have to go about with their livelihood. We have to give them some sources of livelihood. Then make them either go towards the agriculture, or start some self-employment opportunity, go into the industry. All these comes under the post rehabilitation program. But generally, in any country, what happens is these rehabilitation programs suffer from the paucity of finances. Because for everything, what do we need? For taking up such activities, what do we need? You tell me, what do we need? On a big scale, the government has to take up. What do we need? Tell me. What do we need?
Money. Please repeat the question again, ma.
I said, for any post-rehabilitation program, a government has to undertake. Some disaster has occurred in a place, in a country. So what is it that first? The government has various plans and programs with it. But what is needed first to begin? What do you need? You need money. What do you need? Money is needed, no? So finances are the most important thing. So any government, like you come from various countries, for any government, these are the basic things that is needed. In this unit, you will find that first we discuss about the importance of reconstruction and rehabilitation as a means of development, because development can take place, can be brought about in that place through proper reconstruction and rehabilitation. Okay. Second section of this talks about mitigation. A country should have proper mitigation measures, where then only if the mitigation measures are in place, they can help in drawing up the rehabilitation and reconstruction programs. Okay. The third aspect is, whenever these programs have to be taken up, we have to do the cost benefit analysis. What is called cost benefit analysis? You tell me, what is cost benefit analysis in simple terms? What is cost benefit analysis? What is a cost benefit analysis? See, any activity has to.
That is the estimate of the cost that the project will need for it to become feasible.
Yeah, good.
From designing to the
and what benefit you are going to get from it. Okay, good. So that is the cost benefit analysis of is to be undertaken. So for undertaking this cost benefit analysis, any government or any the government structure, because basically all these activities have to be taken up by whom? By government only, because which has money. First, what are the factors that influence any government in undertaking decisions on rehabilitation and reconstruction? First is economic. Economic means money, because development measures, they involve expenditure and costs. So any government will look at the economic costs and the benefits they are going to get. Suppose they have to build a school, they have to build a building. What is it? How much money is going to be put in it? And secondly, what are the benefits that is going to be involved? Like suppose I have got only 100 rupees. I have to divide my 100 rupees between building a school, building a home, and building a shelter for the animals. Now I have to see what was the impact of the disaster in that area, and how I am going to divide my money in these activities. So the first is the under cost benefit analysis, the economic factors. Then next is political factors also, because generally when a disaster takes place in any country, that is common that the politicians or the government will look at it, and then the members of the political representatives belonging to that area will decide, or they will give their views as to which activities have to be taken up, because they are accountable to the people. Don't you think so? What do you think? In your country, the political representatives or the politicians, they are accountable to people, no? Tell.
Yes, yes, it's true. They are accountable to people because they are
Ah,
the one who
ah.
elected them to the power.
So whenever disaster happens, we find that, it's common. They visit the place, talk to people. So political factor is also very important. Then the next is, third is frequency of disasters. In every country, this is to be looked at, like how frequently the disasters and what type of disasters are taking place. Then only decisions can be taken as to what type of rehabilitation and reconstruction. Like in one country, in one of your countries, maybe earthquakes are more, the country is prone to earthquakes. In some country, floods they are more prone to floods. So the frequency of disasters is another factor that plays a key role. So in cost benefit analysis, these factors are taken into consideration: economic factors, political factors, and the frequency of disasters. Fine. Is it okay till now the way I'm speaking to you?
Yes, ma.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it okay?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes,
Because
ma'am.
you all have got material, I'm just simplifying it and then, telling you, explaining in your own this thing. Okay. So we have covered this section, cost benefit analysis. Now we come to, like one of you has said, the relationship between disasters and development. This is a very, very important aspect. So first question, or the point that we need to understand is, do disasters destroy development programs? Do they destroy?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
think
Yes,
disasters,
yes, ma.
how?
Yes, when maybe there is a earthquake, the
Hmm.
building, the hospital, the schools will collapse,
Hmm.
and that the development has been taken back. The bridges, the road can also collapse.
Yeah, good. See, for example, as I said, the previous section of this unit talks about mitigation. Okay. Howsoever the mitigation measures have been taken, or maybe they were not taken, a disaster happens. For example, some housing project or some infrastructure like building of a bridge, it is near a hill slope where the landslides, the possibility of landslides is high. Okay, something is being built near a hilltop where the landslide is high. Okay, so what will be the losses then? Suppose in case landslide occurs tomorrow, possible deaths can take place. Then there is loss of livelihoods. Livelihood is where people work to earn their living, that is livelihood. Okay, so their incomes are lost. Then there is disruption of economic activity. Then that means this building or of something near the hill slope was not a proper decision. It has affected the development in that area. So generally, how does it happen? Why is it that disasters destroy development programs? Why do they happen? Because firstly, there is lack of adhering to legislative controls. See, whenever something is activity or development program or some project, some dam is being built, something is being built, one has to see whether the place where it is planned, it is okay. Is it prone to any earthquake there? And are there some measures in place. Okay, where, for example, in a place which is prone to earthquake, okay, that area is said to be really prone to earthquake. But at the same time, just because the area is prone to earthquake, we can't stop the development activities, isn't it? Some activities have to take place. Something has to be built, a dam has to be built, or some bridge has to be built. So first we have to see that whether the country has some earthquake resistant regulations. Okay. Since that place is prone to earthquake, the concerned government should formulate legislation where some codes are indicated. The building should be of this, should be made of this material. The dam should be made of this material. What are the various specifications? Those are all very engineering type, but the government has to formulate it. But in many countries and many places, this is not in place. That's why the development programs are affected whenever there is a disaster, because we don't attach much importance to these legislative controls. So we just think that, okay, let it be later, it can be seen. So this is what is called as indifference. Don't you think that many places there is some sort of an indifference? We let the disaster happen and then we work towards rehabilitation, reconstruction. Right from beginning, we don't give much importance to disaster mitigation. Don't you think so? This happens? Tell me. Don't you think?
Yes, we think so, ma.
Because generally we don't pay much attention, because we feel that, okay, let the activity happen. But suddenly when something happens, everything goes haywire. And secondly, other factor why development programs suffer due to disasters is any mitigation measure, it involves a lot of money. Because the preparedness and mitigation measures, it involves money. Something has to be put in place and some laws have to be made, adherence, all this, it involves costs. So just to reduce these costs, we don't give much importance to mitigation measures and we go ahead with the development projects. Then the second is social and historical precedents. At times it happens that a place or something is located in a place since long. So suddenly now you can't remove that. Okay. So we give importance to that. So all these things, for example, I'm telling about India, where we have many things over the coastal areas. We have coastal line. Okay. So whenever anything, cyclone or anything happens suddenly, of course, now the government has put in place many mitigatory measures in India. So earlier it was that these development projects used to get affected. So the most important thing is all these things happen, and why we consider that disasters destroy development programs is there is no much planning done by the government, and we don't adhere to legislative controls, and whatever mitigation measures, generally it is felt that it involves a lot of money. So activities take place. So first aspect is this. Second, now we have to ponder over whether disaster reconstruction, does it provide opportunities to initiate development programs? See, now the disaster has happened. There has been damage. Everything has gone. Now we are looking at reconstruction. So we need to look at reconstruction as an opportunity to initiate development programs. Like, for example, as I said, wherever buildings are made, shelters are being constructed, we have to see that they are built as per the specifications provided by the government, and there is good disaster management law in place. Then the reconstruction can provide opportunity to initiate development programs. So reconstruction then can provide, or it can become a means towards development programs. Other thing is, third aspect is do development programs increase the vulnerability? See, at times, for example, whenever cities grow, okay, there is so much of population. I think I'm sure in all your countries also, wherever the urban centers are, there is a lot of migration. Like, people come from rural areas. Isn't it so? For employment in the urban areas, don't they come to cities in search of livelihood? They feel that there are so much of development programs and they'll get some job opportunities. Don't you think so?
Yes, ma'am.
So they come. So there is a lot of population which is coming, and then this may lead to other things, like, for example, fire, like, where there are so many buildings are constructed and they have to stay there and not much attention is paid. Like, their buildings are just constructed like that. And then because they have to stay somewhere and earn their livelihood. So fire hazard is the most common thing. So at times development programs also increase vulnerability. So, at the end of this, how can we enhance or improve planning for effective disaster mitigation so that reconstruction and rehabilitation can become very good? First is building safety codes and laws. For any building or any activity that is to be taken up, physical infrastructure, there should be proper safety codes. How is it? Like, buildings have to be constructed, even personal buildings also, like, the fire safety mechanism should be there. All this, for we need to have building safety codes and laws. Then land regulation. Land regulation is something that some areas which are prone to cyclones or floods, we have to see that no buildings are constructed nearby, because land regulation policies should be in place. Another aspect is training of builders. Whenever buildings are built, the engineers, structural and non-structural, we call it, they have to be involved and they have to be trained. And other thing is, we need to raise awareness amongst the people. People also should be aware about the areas in which they live, whether they are prone to disasters, and how they should choose the buildings, all these things. Then at the community level also, there should be mock drills whenever despite all these disasters take place. So there should be mock drills so that whenever there is a disaster, they are able to save themselves. So all these are the mitigation measures. Generally, the mitigation measures generally are not taken seriously, but we need to incorporate these mitigation measures in all development programs. Okay, any doubts before we proceed to the other sections? Any doubt you have?
No, ma, there's no any doubt.
No, ma.
Okay. So what I'll finish whatever the units in another 1 hour. So you can go back to your homes and the next class or anything, if there is any, because everything is listed in your material, but I'm just summing it up and making it simplified. Okay. Now next is this relief, rehabilitation and development should be together. We call it relief, rehabilitation, development continuum. We call it continuum because there should be a link between all this. Linking relief and rehabilitation. We call it LRRD. So we need to link all this, because then only can better development takes place. Then better development, if the development is better, then there is no much need for emergency relief, and better relief can contribute to development. And in between, if we have good rehabilitation aspects, there is a better development. So we need to link relief. Whatever relief is given to the people when disaster takes place, it should be a solid relief which can lead to development. It's not just money, but relief in a form where they are able to rebuild their lives and rehabilitate themselves. So these three should be a continuum. So this should be continuous. So the thing is, there should be a linkages between political, developmental, relief, and rehabilitation. There should be linkages. Then other thing is, we need to rebuild the civil society. See, what is civil society? Can anybody tell me what is civil society? What is civil society? Have you heard of civil society?
Civil societies are movements normally that are used to protect the interests of public.
Yeah, good. They are any community-based organization, any this thing, like, groups of people. I'm very happy that, you all are, most of it. Like, I'm happy that you are taking interest in this program and you're quite well aware. I'm very, very happy. So, other thing is rehabilitation or whatever, when it is done, we should know that it is not just the activity of only the government. Okay? So, the civil society also. Civil society comprises of NGOs, community-based organizations, people's associations, all this. So there should be greater public participation because they have to express, because it is the people who are going to be there. So there should be freedom of expression and independence for the people, because they have to be involved in the decisions that suit them. Because ultimately, even the houses where they are going to live, the schools where they are going to be, and the livelihood options that we give to them to rebuild their lives, in all this, they need to have expression, freedom of expression. So they need to have a public participation and also political dialogue. The political representatives, they need to have interaction with the people. So the thing is, there should be more partners in this rehabilitation program. So it is not just the government, but all these have to get together. As I said, the civil society, which consists of NGOs, public institutions, social movements, media. Media also comes under civil society, because through media, what is media? What do you understand by media? Media has print, like newspapers, electronic media, all these, because they make the people aware. So it comes under civil society. So self-help groups, community-based organizations, all these, they need to come together in the rehabilitation and the reconstruction. So in the first unit, as we have discussed, reconstruction and rehabilitation as means of development, we have seen how mitigation is important. Mitigation only can lead well to a proper rehabilitation and reconstruction. And we spoke about the physical rehabilitation and the psychological rehabilitation, and what are the various mitigation measures that can be taken. And also, we have also discussed how there is this relief, rehabilitation, development continuum, and whether disasters can be taken up as opportunities of development, and how can we reduce the impact of the risks arising out of rehabilitation, and also the significance and the involvement of civil society in the entire process. Okay, now we have completed the first unit. This is the introductory unit. So now, any doubts, or we go to the second unit? After second unit, I'll give you a 5-minute break. Okay? Do we go to second unit?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Come on.
See, the second unit, I simplify it. It is on damage assessment. Okay? See, the damages has occurred due to disasters. So damage assessment is very important for effective disaster management. See, everybody has to know that what is the extent of damage in a disaster, because the government has to arrange for money, we have to arrange relief, plan for reconstruction and recovery. So damage assessment is a very important aspect in the disaster management program. So in damage assessment, there are surveys are taken. First is a sample survey. It is a type of a survey where just a survey is in an area, it has happened. Then a representative sample of the population is surveyed. So, one cannot undertake a survey of the entire area. Just a representative sample of that area is taken, and then to assess what damage is done. That is simple random sampling. Simply a random sampling is done and then seen what is the essence of the damage. Other type is also a systematic sampling. Systematic is, for example, only 200 cases are to be, 200 persons are to be selected from a listed population of 10,000. Then one can take every 50th case. Then again go to the 50th. So it is systematic sampling. Like every 50, 100, 150 it is taken and done. Then cluster sampling. Cluster is, for example, a cluster, people living in a particular area, a cluster like that is taken, and then it is seen that what is the extent of the damage that is done. The other type is a stratified sampling, we say, where a cluster is again divided into subgroups, like, some families are taken and then the assessment is done. So this is, in general, the government does the damage assessment in any country, and then to assess what is the extent of the damage, and it can adopt any of these methods and then do the damage, because each method has its own advantages and disadvantage. So depending on the extent of the damage that has happened and the type, the government decides, and then the assessments are done. Assessments are done first at the local level where it has happened. Then at the national level also, teams are sent to assess the damages and see the damage that is done. Another important thing is epidemiological surveillance. Epidemiological surveillance is, epidemiology deals with the diseases. Okay. So whenever a disaster happens, there is an outbreak of communicable diseases and other health problems. Generally, when relief camps and all are there, some outbreak like cholera, typhoid, diarrhea, all these take place. So we need to have good surveillance, because once it is not tackled properly, it may become a great public health concern. So under damage assessment, the epidemiological surveillance or the surveillance pertaining to the health needs of the people, especially in relief camps, is very important aspect. Because some of the diseases like typhoid, it's all caused by diarrhea. Because generally what happens is, for example, water supply, there is little water supply, it might get contaminated. So a diarrhea, once it starts, then it may assume huge proportion. For example, even rabies, because when a disaster happens, like you can expect, many of the livestock, like the rabies cases also increase. So all this epidemiological surveillance the government has to see, and then report the cases, the types of diseases that is increasing, the outbreak of the public health problems, so that necessary action is taken. Another important aspect in damage assessment is nutrition centered health assessment. See, nutrition is a very, very important component. So nutrition is a thing that gets affected whenever a disaster takes place, because there is always food shortage. See, there are lactating mothers, women, children. So all these, they get affected because of various health problems like water shortage, contamination. So all these are to be taken into account. They have to be seen that they are given the good adequate amount of water, protein, whatever it is. Okay. So this is a very important aspect. Nutrition centered health assessment. So the diet, what type of diet is to be given. So all these things are very important. So in damage assessment, as I said, apart from assessing what is the extent of the damage and other things, the government has to focus on epidemiological surveillance. Like what are the health problems, like any outbreak of health issues which may cause public health concern, and then the nutritional deficiencies, and take appropriate measures to provide proper nutrition to the people, especially who are staying in the relief camps. So when we talk of rehabilitation and reconstruction, this aspect is also very, very important. So the second unit of this course deals with the damage assessment. Okay. Now we take a short break of 5 minutes. Is it okay?
Okay.
It's okay, Prof.
I'll just come. We'll take a break of 5 minutes and then we'll discuss the third and the fourth units. Okay?
It is a break time. Oh. So how are you, my people? Hello.
Okay, fine. We'll now continue. Before we go to the other two, in general, you have anything? Let us have a small discussion on any other problems you are facing with regard to this, because we need to complete two more today, two more units. Anything you want to discuss about the program or anything you would like to know? Anything specific you would like to know about assignments or your project? Shall we start the third unit?
Yes, ma.
Hope everybody is there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Is there anybody from Ghana in this? No.
Hmm?
Is there anybody from Ghana? Ghana is also from the country. From the country Ghana? No. Many seem to be from Nigeria, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What are the disasters in generally Nigeria has? Which is it prone for? Prone to which disasters?
Actually, we have both natural disaster and man-made disaster. The frequent one of natural disaster that we have is flood in Nigeria. while the man-made is the building collapse, road traffic accidents, and plane crashes.
Hey, which is natural, you said?
I beg your pardon?
What is the natural disaster the country is exposed to?
Flood?
Floods. Okay.
Yes, flood.
Okay. So now the third unit, it deals with the role of various agencies, okay, in disaster management and development. I want to ask you, in your countries, you also must be having, because what we discuss about India may not be of much this thing, but let us just discuss the overall setup, which might be there in many countries, okay? Because disaster management, managing the disasters, the activities are needed in all stages of disasters, in preparedness, mitigation, reconstruction, and recovery. Whom do you think, you tell me that, which is the one which plays a very important role in managing disasters? Whose role is it in all your countries? Whose responsibilities is it in your country?
In Nigeria is National Emergency Management
Yeah,
Agency.
that is the government. So first, at the central level, at the top level, there is a government body. Like in India also we have the ministry and all these. Then next to the central level, which is the authority in your country? To talk of Nigeria.
It's the state level, ma.
State level, good.
Yes.
So state level, who is in charge?
We also have NEMAs in the state, but
District. Okay, like
yes,
India, you also have a district. So we have a three-tiered thing: central level, state level, and the district level. Like in district level in India, we have something like a district collector, which is the who is the overall in charge of. Yeah, somebody. Yes, George, you have a question?
Not really. I just wanted to respond to your question. Like in Malawi, we have DODMA. DODMA stands for Department of Disaster Management Affairs, which is headed by a commissioner. It's at national state level. Then we have a regional and the district, just as you said.
Okay. And then do you all countries, do you have a disaster management act that has been passed? Maybe the term is different, but do you have a law or an act that has been passed which clearly lays down the roles and responsibilities and what is
Yeah,
to be?
yeah, like here in Malawi, ma'am, we have the laws, but because of the cyclone Flede that just hit our country and Mozambique, part of Mozambique, but Malawi was also affected heavily. I think it prompted government officials and lawmakers to come up with more laws so that they can be so strong and be more meaningful, so that they can help to save lives. So they're trying to what we call to add more laws or to strengthen the laws on disaster management. So as I'm talking, we are waiting for the president to sign to us to set into it so that it can become a law.
Okay. So now, whenever there is this Disaster Management Act or the law, so it provides for institutional arrangements, we call it, for bringing about the coordination. Like as in India, as you were saying, in your countries also, first the top level is the national level, okay, and next comes the state level. Next is the district level. So whenever district level is, why district level becomes very important is a disaster when it takes place, the first one to rush to that particular point or the place is the district administration. It provides the immediate relief. Then the district administration coordinates with the other state, and the central level from above. It provides or it performs the role of a monitoring and the supervisory agencies, and it also provides the funds. I'm sure it is the case in all your countries. Is it something different? Because when I discuss about India, it doesn't make it's better that you apply it to your respective countries. What is the organizational setup?
Yes, like in Nigeria, there is a little different,
Hmm?
and I think that is why all the time we used to, when disaster hit, we used to have a lot of losses of properties and this thing. It's only the national and the state level, but there is no district one that is close to a common man or close to the where disasters used to occur. For example, like we said, we have National Emergency Management, which is under a ministry. It has a minister. Then at a state level, like my state, Adamawa State, we have what they call ADSEMA, Adamawa State Emergency Management. But in local government areas, you cannot find any dedicated office or anything like that that has to do with management of disaster at the lower level.
Okay.
So I think that is from where the disconnect is coming.
Okay. So, what is the frequency of the disasters? Generally, every year it happens.
Yes, it happens. As I'm talking to you right now, the Lagos Ibadan Expressway is being cut off since yesterday because of the heavy flood.
Oh, okay. Then the relief and the materials, it is rushed by the district administration. Immediate.
Nigeria is a different case when it comes to this kind of things.
Uh,
Most of the time there is not that much political will. They will only respond after things have went out of hand. People are talking on social media, this and that.
okay. So now, then in that case, then the
Ma'am,
important, yes.
ma'am, actually, I just want to, while to, are you there? Actually, some of the learners wanted to enter in the class, but they were not able to because were not permitted. So I want Vyal to enter them as a co-host. Is it okay with
Yes,
you?
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
yes.
I was not here in the class and I went somewhere, and but some of the learners were not able to enter.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Let them join.
If while you are there, you need to do that. Okay.
It's okay. I will do that.
Thank you.
No, welcome.
So now, as we were discussing, apart from the government, which provides the necessary coordination and then helps in the management, the most important institution is the community. Community. When we help each other in such situations. So, community is emerging as the most powerful agency that is involved in disaster management. So, that's why the awareness, information, awareness, and education of the community becomes important. Community is one where people are living in contact with each other face to face. Like we have community based organizations, they perform functions like they offer immediate support and solidarity. As I was saying, whenever disaster happens, what is it that is needed? Somebody to come to the person and say that I am there. So I'm sure in most of the country of your countries also, the community support comes first. Don't you think so? The communities don't they, irrespective of whatever problems they have or limited resources, don't you think the community comes to the fore?
They comes because they are the first person that come to the scene and assist their brothers before the government agencies present or NGOs.
Yeah, community is the first responder, we say, in disaster situations. So they try to strengthen or give support to the people so that they are able to face the crisis. In India, we have, some small units like village task force. We have village. Village is the last unit where, people from various, a school teacher is a member of it, somebody else, women are members of it, youth, they are members of it. We have local bodies. So the president or the sarpanch we call is a member of it. So they all come together and help each other. So we have this village task force. That is, I'm just giving you an example where in India we have this. Then there are places where we have disaster task force also. It's a different terminology that is used. Wherever there is a disaster task force, it has about 10 to 12 members where, they are quite young, healthy members who are able to give the required support whenever a crisis occurs. So these are certain things which play a very important role. I'm sure in your countries also you have something like this, units. Do you have?
Yes, we do. In Zambia, we have called the satellite disaster management committees. Those are the ones that are grassroots.
Very
And
good.
then we come to the district disaster management committees. And then we go to the provincial disaster management committees before we go to the national committees. So usually the satellite disaster management committees, they are the ones that respond to emergencies before the district, the province, or the national level comes on board.
Which country are you from?
Zambia.
Zambia. Okay. Zambia is prone to floods, no? Or any other?
Sorry?
Is it the country more prone to more floods?
Yes,
Zambia?
yes, Zambia we experience mostly it's flooding, and in some parts of Zambia actually we have we experience drought. So it's either of the two. Some parts we find that it's flooding, in some parts again you find there is drought.
Okay, good. You have this system of whatever you said, the task forces. So, you know why these forces are more this? They have the commitment, and also the people, they identify with these task forces because they are from them within the community. So they feel, and they have a sort of a support and succor, and they feel confident and they have faith in it. So apart from, as I said, the community is the first response. Apart from the governments at the national, central, and other levels, next is the community, and next is we have non-governmental organizations. We call it NGOs. I'm sure you must be having NGOs also, because they become a very important communication link between the affected community and the disaster management agencies. Because you all know that in any country, the government does not have the resources to tackle all the problems, and then at that point it is the community needs somebody who can go visit, talk to them. So that scenario, the NGOs play a very important role, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, because they have a very dedicated field operations, because they all are working, many of them at the grassroots level, they are able to, and also they have resources. And also many of the NGOs are also well familiar with the development technology. So they have the development technology which is available with them. Like for example, in some countries, I'm sure there are some resident associations also, and religious bodies, educational institutions. All these play a very important role, because firstly, they maintain communication with the community. They have good human resources. All these NGOs, they have material and finances, and they also get it from many agencies also, other agencies like international agencies also, international NGOs. Whenever a disaster happens, they also make their presence felt, and they come up, as you know, with many relief material, and then their personnel also work in the field, and they are able to give the thing, and they have the professional and technical expertise to provide the necessary help to the disaster victims. So all these, for example, when we talk of this, So pre-disaster, all these community and the NGOs, pre-disaster also, they have an important role to play before a disaster occurs, to have awareness and information campaigns, training of local volunteers, and planning for activities, because some of the activities that need to be taken during disaster is search and rescue, giving first aid, medicines, supply of water. So all these, the awareness about how it is to be given, all these NGOs, they take part in the pre-disaster activities. During disasters, they really get involved in rescue operations, search and rescue, giving of food, water, medicines, etc. Then post disaster, as we are discussing, in the rehabilitation and the reconstruction activities also, they play an important role. And in India, there are other agencies, and I'm sure in your agencies, in your countries also, you have these agencies, like for example, the Red Cross. I think, I'm sure in your country, the Red Cross also plays a very important role. Isn't it so? The International Red
Yes.
Cross.
Yes, sure.
The
Yeah, the
international,
same as us in Sierra Leone.
the Red Cross plays, yeah, Joseph, you want to say?
Yeah, it's the same as us in Sierra Leone. Yeah, we have Red Cross and other NGOs that are linked directly with disaster management, and even a wing from the government also that supports some CBOs on that.
Which country are you from?
I'm from Sierra Leone, Sierra Leone.
Okay. And what type of disasters you have?
They are varied, both man-made and natural. But one of the most prevalent are the fires, oil fires. Then during the rainy season, we have some floods and mudslides.
Okay. So, so as he said, the Red Cross is one. George, you had something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to concur that even in Malawi, we have Red Cross and other NGOs, as my friend just said, Joseph from Sierra Leone, NGOs like World Vision, Save the Children, and other organizations which work hand in hand with the government and with the institution that works on disaster. Together, they work together, but they are guided by the state institution, the Department of Disaster and Management Affairs. So yeah, I just want to agree with you.
Good. Adamu, you had to say something?
Yeah, it's the same thing also here in Nigeria. We have ICRC. We also have Medicine Sans Frontiers. We also have UNICEF and other NGOs that are
Yeah.
present here, also contributing. We also have Oxfam also.
Yeah, Oxfam also. So one is this Indian Red Cross, and even media also plays an important role. How do you think the media will play an important role?
By
Uh,
disseminating good information and also educating people and enlightening them on the government programs and plans in the disaster, and
Good,
also controlling panic by giving accurate and precise information and debunking rumors.
good. Because many gone. George, you had to say, add something.
yeah, I just want to say that the media plays important role in all sake of disaster management as it disseminates the message, but also it makes the government aware of what is happening, because sometimes, I mean, the government cannot know if there's no that communication from the media. So the media plays a very crucial role in every aspect of disaster management cycle. So yeah, I just want to agree with you with that.
Yeah, because many situations, disaster situations, rumors, there is panic created amongst the community. Okay, there is some sort of a rumor which doesn't, from where it originates, one doesn't know. So it creates panic amongst the community. So the media has a very important role in this. So the media has to dispel this and give the correct picture. The reporting has to be correct. So that, people get some confidence. And another important agency is fire services. I'm sure in all your countries also you have fire services, because generally there is a policy also on fire preparedness. Fire preparedness generally is a very important aspect, where all the buildings, especially many of the things, somebody has said that man-made disasters, fire is very, very common. Okay, so the fire agency, so what are the legislations involved, and then how the fire agency plays an important role, and they need to have good standard equipment also whenever there is this thing. I'm sure in all your countries also fire agencies play an important role.
Uh, yes, Dr. Fire Service, they do play important role. Like here in Nigeria, we have the state fire service. We also have federal fire service. They do always be on alert in every
Alert.
on alert in every disaster, either fire outbreak, either in filling station, in houses, in anywhere, fire outbreak, they are on alert. So they play a very important role. They even distribute their own phone number in case of some villages, like now in dry season, you find out that some villages just you hear fire outbreak. So they play important role, and the people are appreciating here in
Good,
Nigeria. That is all.
good. And the other important agency is also police and paramilitary forces. So the same with your countries, police also plays an important role, because
Yes, they do. Yeah, yes, doctor, they do. Police, civil defense,
yeah,
immigration, prison service, all these military, paramilitary, and the military, the forces, they do play important role in every disaster aspect.
and
You
armed,
fight them. Especially, we have federal road safety. This federal road safety, they used to look in all our federal highway in case of an accident. So they used to come and play an important role and bring out an emergency. They too, they used to distribute their own phone number everywhere when there is an emergency call. So people used to call them to come and intervene and bring out their own intervention there. They do play important role in Nigeria. That is it. Yes, we have them.
and I'm sure armed forces also, no, your army, the army
Yes,
also in. Hmm.
yes. In Nigeria, we do have Nigerian army. We have land army, navy, air force. These
Yeah,
two,
good.
yeah, they also play an important role, especially in disasters, either flooding, fire outbreak, every disaster. They used to play an important role, especially when people alert them immediately when the disaster outbreak occur. They do play.
Yeah, good. As so, in this unit, what we focused is like disaster management is not managing disasters, natural, man-made. It is not the responsibility of any one institution, but it is a culmination of various institutions, like the government at the national, state, district level. Then you have the community, which is plays a very key role. Then non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, then international agencies, Red Cross, police, civil defense, paramilitary organizations, armed forces. So all these play a very important role in managing disasters. Now, the last unit that we come to is information management structure. See, why? Because in managing disasters, information, education, and communication activities are very, very important. Information is a key component of disaster management, because it depends how fast the information goes, and then at the same time it involves the awareness of the people. They should be aware, and also the agency should be able to get the information. See, a disaster has occurred in an area, the central government, the state government, or the district in your country, in whatever the hierarchy it functions, it should have the information with it so that it can rush the required forces, or it can send the relief material. So all this is becomes important only with information dissemination. So information dissemination, the information has to be disseminated across. Like for example, the any onset of the disaster is going to happen, the media has to, through bulletins. I'm sure in all your countries also, they give weather bulletins in case of fire and in case of cyclones and floods. Isn't it so? People get weather bulletins. You must be having some meteorological department. Do you have? Which gives in case of cyclones or floods.
Yes, in Nigeria we have this, but in Nigeria we do have this disaster of cyclone. But in disaster, what disaster we used to experience is this drought and the flooding. Flooding is the most disaster that we used to experience. So especially this time around, so close to raining season, the media, the government media, private media, and the other media organization, they will start distributing information or disseminating information to the people. Every people that are that build or that are stay on the roadside, where on the water flow side where the water are passing, so they do inform them that they used to they just park or to just stay away from there. Since from now, where there is weather forecast, they have started distributing this information, weather forecast. They used to say that this time around the raining season will occur and we will have a heavy raining season. So every person, every community that are close to water flood, they will just inform them that to park away from there. Yeah. Information is very important. They started since now. We are in May, and the information start distributed here in Nigeria.
Very good, very good. I'm happy that information, which is considered a key component in managing disasters in all the countries, like even the media. Like for example, the media has a very important role, the electronic media, because as you know, now electronic media has become a very, very key resource of information. Like for example, in pre-disaster, like pre-disaster play phase, they should be able to give the correct and authentic information to the people, so that people, there is no, as I said, people should not get scared, or a disaster alarm, as we say, it should not be created to create that panic amongst the people. So in the pre-disaster phase, the warnings, whatever it is, it should be through a communicable language. It should be authentic, so that we prevent the rumors to go through. And then similarly, the media has an important role in during disaster phase, where you are able to give the correct assessment of the damage that has happened, where it has happened, instead of giving a very, very larger picture than what is needed. So the authentic and accurate information as far as possible during the disaster phase is also needed. And the next is the post disaster phase. Here actually generally post disaster phase, see, once a disaster happens, in general what happens is there is a lot of coverage on the disasters that has happened, the damage and all. But once the disaster subsides, the government now goes for reconstruction and recovery, and then rehabilitation projects. But generally the reporting is not done much about these activities. I'm sure it is there in your countries also. See, what are the livelihood options? The interest slowly wanes away. Don't you think so? In post disaster phase, in a particular area it has happened, but the government has invested money, many organizations are working towards the rehabilitation of the people, but you find that mostly the coverage is not that much. Don't you think so? Though it has an important role in this. Don't you think?
Yes, the government. Yes, this happened. The government cannot afford all this. What happened in disasters? Like here in Nigeria, most of the time when disaster happen, first disaster coverage, the politician they used to come in, non-governmental organization, private community, even community individual. They used to bring their own contribution to the affected community. Every community that this disaster happened, not only government, but the government is the first one that used to take its own intervention to the affected community. Most especially, they used to evacuate them to the safer area. So after that, they used to bring them food, mosquito nets, drugs, and many other things they used to bring to the affected community. But not only government, even individual people used to contribute, give them their own contribution. That's what happened.
Yeah. So whatever the information, like it should relate to post, pre-disaster, disaster, and even post-disaster phase also. There should be a good coverage, especially when we are talking of rehabilitation and reconstruction. Let's see what are the activities that the government or the NGOs or other organizations are taken to rehabilitate the people. Reconstruction activities that are taking place in the area. So there should be a coverage of this also. The information should be disseminated about these activities also going place. Then the other thing is, now there is a lot of technological advancements in the field of communication. So now, for example, in India, we have ham technology. Do you have? We call it ham radios. They are wireless system radios, where, people get license and then they use for disseminating information. Do you have any such thing in your country? Ham radio? Wireless. They get a license from the government to operate it. Yeah?
We do have community FM radios in
Good, good.
Nigeria. Yeah, we used to have it. Every community, most of the community, they used to have that community FM radio. So in every disaster or every disaster before it occur or after or during the disaster, information used to with it,
So
using that
community radios are very,
community
very, because people
FM radios.
identify with it. Yeah, and these people identify with it. So they are able to participate, and also the connect becomes very easy with the people. And they need to get a license. And then in India, there have been many success stories where this ham radio at that particular point was very helpful. And now remote sensing, space technology. I'm sure in your countries also the remote sensing maps, which gives information about the areas which are prone to it, so that all these helps the government to prepare proper disaster management plans and have mitigation measures in place. I think, I'm sure you have the remote sensing, using of remote sense in your countries. There are remote sensing applications, then where through maps and other things and cyclone tracking, for example, mapping, and then flood monitoring, the technology helps in these activities, especially so that, especially in landslides, floods, and cyclones, through these technology, it is able to get into operation. And the other thing is geographical information. It is a software, GIS we say. Like, through GIS, we have, like, for example, the India Meteorological Department. I'm sure you must be having a meteorological department in your countries also. Through use of GIS, they get the maps. They're able to, say that about predict in a way the rainfall that is going to happen, the heavy rainfall or the cyclone alerts. So it helps in continued surveillance and monitoring, so that once the government comes to know the possibility of any impending disaster that is going to take place, or that is going to occur, especially like floods and cyclones, with the help of this technology, it is able to plan for emergency operations. So because the government at every level, the community, everybody will be very alert. So despite it, at times something may take place, but the use of this technology helps in these activities. So the emergency communication, this ham radio and all, is an example of emergency communication where the people get the help from these to tackle the situations. So as I said, information management is a very, very important aspect in disaster situations. So the information is a key resource. When people get information, then only they can act. Like suppose a flood is going to come, they have to evacuate the people. So the giving of effective information, correct information at that particular point to the community by the government or by the NGOs, so and also the correct reporting plays a very important role in this. So the management of information is a very, very important aspect in this. So now, see, now we have covered now in this session 4 units. Okay. So now you may go back and then go through it. And whenever I have, I think 3 to 4 classes more, any doubts you can get back. So whatever this thing, you always relate it. See, the material you have maybe is, some examples are given from the Indian scenario. But the thing is, I'm very happy that you all are very aware about the management of disaster, the institutional arrangements, and you are able to, relate it to your country. So this program or this course will be of use when you are able to relate it to your country. This is the theory aspect that we give, but the thing is, you need to relate to your own country. So that is the thing. Any doubts or anything you can ask now.
No question, but thank you very much for your wonderful presentation.
No,
Very.
See, I always, I wanted to make it simpler and I'm also very happy with you all because you all are interactive. Otherwise, just one-sided doesn't give anything. Okay. So, yeah, George, you have a question? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor. It has been a very good session. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It was very simple to understand, and you have been just straight to the point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Adamu. You have been more like an assistant lecturer today.
Okay.
I enjoyed your contributions.
Thank you. I wanted to make it
Yeah,
simpler. You have the material.
yeah, that was good. That was good.
And then you need to relate, and you all know it. I'm very, very happy that you know so much about. And also, it is a learning experience from me that I could get from you. Like what are all the disasters, and still 3-4 classes we'll discuss more about it. Okay. So it was a very, very good interactive session. I believe in interaction than just showing something, and then the quality of the interaction matters a lot. Okay. Thank you. Adamu, you have a question?
Yes, it's not a question, but rather a suggestion, Ma. I want to just suggest that, Ma, if possible, in the next class, maybe you can use your laptop to maybe be projecting the material and be explaining it in the more captivating environment. Because this is a very insight information you have given concerning this material. Actually, we get to relate and understand some of them when you explain today, unlike when we did it before when we are doing the assignment.
Yahaya, can you mute your mic? You tell me, I couldn't get it. You were saying something?
Okay, can I say it again?
Yeah.
Yes, I was saying, if possible, Ma, the next lecture, maybe you can project the material as you are explaining. It will be very good one. because as the way you explained it today, we really understood, unlike the way we are reading the material before during the assignment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it will be good if possible the material being projected and you are explaining and you are scrolling that the combination of the two methods of teaching that will I think will impact a lot. As you know, it's a class. We have different learners. Some are slow, some are fast learners, and some.
You want me
So
to
I'm
show
just
the
hoping.
material?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. While you are explaining, it will be good
Okay, I'll try
if
to because
possible.
no, no, that's not a this thing. But I need to. But you all have with you, no?
Yes, we have it.
So can any one of you show it? Because since I have to again put it everything the material on this thing. If you can, if
Okay, I
somebody
don't know if Will can do it for us because he's using laptop from the way I saw he is participating in the class. Will or George, are you there? George,
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
you are using laptop, right?
No, no, I'm right now using my phone. I'm right now using my phone.
Yeah, I'm using laptop.
Okay, I think
Just
what
let me.
you are using laptop, Will. Okay, maybe next class
Yeah,
if you can help to share the screen of the material while she is lecturing.
yeah,
if
yeah. Let
anyone
me
of
prepare for next class so
yeah,
that I can also share
any
with
one
you.
of you can share the screen, then it will be easy for me. Because for next this thing I'll be because I've just been told yesterday to take no, so I don't have much time to load it and then do it. So if any one of you can show, we'll be taking the next four, I think, the units.
Okay, ma. We will discuss that later in our
Yeah,
group so that we'll
yeah,
see
yeah.
how we can
Otherwise, I
opportunity.
have the material with me, and then you can raise, look at your material and ask the query. That's not an issue. Okay. See,
Oh,
what
okay.
I have done now is see the material. Some of it we write, what the course writers we write, but the thing is, you need to understand the crux of it. Okay.
Yes.
So many, some of it, if you do not understand, that's okay. But what does that section try to convey? That I was telling you.
Yes.
So, and also I'm happy that you are able to relate it with your country. So whenever, see, giving for me, talking about India off and on I'll be doing, but it will be more good. But I'm very happy that you all, by now, I think you have done your 6 courses and you are able to relate it to your countries. Okay. So I'm happy about it. And let us see how it goes. So tomorrow you don't have because I have some work. So I think this week, Saturday and Sunday. Okay. I think you can see
Thank
me.
you so much, Professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Wonderful
much. We really
presentation.
appreciate. Very
Okay.
wonderful
Thank you.
one.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure for me to interact with you all. Okay. Wishing you all the best, and maybe you can.
Thank
I
you,
think
man.
some of you, Pam has said some about the project work and all. We can discuss it. And you must have already opted. I'm sure many of you have taken project and do a good work because you all are very well aware of everything. That made me happy. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Then see you on Saturday.
Thank
Okay.
you. See you next time,
Thank you.
Professor.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you on Saturday. Okay.
Okay. Okay, ma.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Good day.
Adamu, bye. Adamu, you have been so helpful today.
Good
George,
day.
thank you very much. I remain humble and loyal.
Thank
We
you.
needed to make you a lecturer at this university.
Thank you. Thank you so
We'll
much.
give you a job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
I can see the ladies are present today.
Is there anybody from Ghana here?
Prof is asking question, please. Listen to her. George,
There is nobody from Ghana.
Yes, Adamu.
Prof is asking question, please. Listen to her. The class, listen.
Please unmute mute your mics. I just wanted to know if there is anybody from the country Ghana. I think I don't know if I don't know the breakup, but
She is asking if there is anyone from Ghana in this class. Ghana.
I don't think so. We have some. I don't think we have
Okay.
somebody from Ghana.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you so much. I think you may get to, you all must be, they must have taken a break from your work. So you can, okay? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye bye. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank thank you.
Yeah, hi, and your chickens.
Okay. Thank you. See you on Saturday. Okay.
Thank you. See you on
See
Saturday,
you
Prof.
Saturday. Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
George. Yeah. George, are you still there? Yes, George.
Yeah, hi, what are you saying? Adam,
Yeah.
how are you
Yes.
guys?
Fine. I thought you are using laptop for the class.
No, no, no. I'm using my cell phone now. I'm in the minibus going home now. So
Okay.
I'm using my phone.
Okay. So it's Will that is using his laptop. Actually, these days we are having issues with our electric distribution company. It has been almost 3 days now. Today, the fourth, we don't have light.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But
I
I
thought
really
that
liked
you
the
using the
professor.
laptop.
She was very straight and brief, and it was just nice to.
Very fluent
Everything
English.
was very audible,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Her English is very fluent, very clear.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, guys. See you next
We have
time.
really tried. See you next time,
Inshallah.
guys. Bye bye. Inshallah, we'll see you on Saturday.